So I would love just to break down some like specificity around what exactly is happening with
Mhm.
the various different breathing maneuvers that we have access to.
Yeah.
So what does down regulation look like? What does up regulation look like? And particularly like the specifics of what's happening during super ventilation or hyperventilation or the huffing and puffing that you'd see become popularized in the last however long since Wim Hof came along, and then
Yeah.
obviously holotropic breathing, and it's been something that's been around for a very long time.
Uh-huh.
But I'd love to maybe start off with like what exactly metabolically speaking is happening with that, and then what are some of the potential downfalls that are happening with that, and some of the things that maybe we think are happening that are not in fact happening with that.
Yeah. So you want to, yeah. So it's a rabbit hole, depending on the information that you do want.
Yeah.
We can talk about from an arousal state, so your nervous system. So I guess I could start there, since the nervous system is really first respondent really to stressor. Right? You're taking in information, waves, etc. You're making sense of that through nervous energy. So from a superventilation standpoint, when we're talking about the nervous system and we talk about arousal, and I just want to preface, this is not a diagnosis for anything. This is just talking about an arousal state continuum. Andrew Huberman will talk about the same shit. That said, in dead center of arousal state, you've got a neutral state. To, let's just call it the left, we've got that more of that parasympathetic branch, which you now move into calm. Then you move into tired and sleepy. Then you move into depressed, right? So from the neutral state moving right into the sympathetic arm, you're looking to focus. That is the next state above neutral, right? Would be like a focus state. Then you've got, you're moving towards what would be like your anxious or stressed state. And then beyond that becomes like full-blown panic attack, right? Superventilation is an up-regulation tool that is used to typically, if we're talking about the Wim Hof method, create a rebound effect into the parasympathetic side of things. So meaning a normal stress response to a moderate stressor or lower, right? You got this swing that happens that goes up. Every human being has it, where the sympathetic nervous system activates. Doesn't matter who you are, Navy SEAL, Aaron Alexander, or mom on the couch, okay? It goes up and then it comes back down. And as it comes back down, your parasympathetic branch starts to come back online and you calm down, right? That's the intention of something like from an arousal side of the Wim Hof method. When you move into something like holotropic breathing, that doesn't equate for that. That goes beyond that. And that's where you can get in trouble with things like the Wim Hof method, where you continue to do it, and you continue to stack and go into more, and I can get into this in a minute, to the side of acute respiratory alkalosis, which has a myriad of problems with it that have very big compounding problems that can follow suit. That said, if you're pretty healthy, you're not going to really run into that stuff. So being healthy is a good thing, right? You move probably around 2 hours a day, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so from a nervous system standpoint, when you go in and you superventilate, we're looking to activate things and then bring it back down and bring it back down to a calm state. So you bring it back past that neutral into a calm state. So that's what you typically would feel after doing like a round of superventilation and then holding your breath, or just calmly sitting there, or doing a slow controlled breathing after that. You will drop back out, feel calm, and feel a little bit energized. And that's because you've created metabolically some energy. So what we've done is we've asked for more energy to occur by really stripping out carbon dioxide. And when you strip that out, oxygen and nitric oxide and oxygen now don't get to go to work for the cells as much, right? And it's not like it's been all CO2 has been removed, but enough has been removed so that you're not offloading a lot of that O2 now. So that's why you'll see on a pulse oximeter, people will show you a pulse oximeter and their, SpO2 goes up to 99 or 100. Is you actually have biologically unavailable oxygen at that point, because you can't offload it. And when you don't have oxygen present for your cells and mitochondria to use, the intelligence of what you are takes over. And we now go into more anaerobic cellular metabolism. So you create a kind of high energy frequency, right? That takes over the nervous system short term. But for people who deal with anxiety, anxiousness, panic attacks, etc., I've found over the course of probably the last 5 or 6 years, this has proven to be a very ineffective tool for that. Because these types of individuals don't manage stress real well throughout the day, and are not creating a buffer between that and what they're doing with the breathing, right?
Yeah.
So if they've got this constant emotional energy occurring and overthinking energy going, your arousal state is already, like I said, you're in this anxious, stressed state already. So why would we throw ourselves more into that or on top of that?
Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. If you did, feel free to tag us on the Instagram. You can find me at Aaron Alexander on there. Also check out the YouTube channel that is at Align Podcast. Subscribe over there so you get each week's videos and instructional content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for reviews. Thanks for doing you. I'll see you next week.